get you back onto your day. Get this um, moving along. Thanks for coming here today. I see there's a lot of us today. That's great. I'm excited to share some information about our program with people. If our program is new for you, that's even better, actually. That's exciting because we'll be able to share some new information with you, hopefully. I'll pretty much go over our program, what we do, how we do it, how we can perhaps work together to support people in the community. And then I threw some slides in towards the end to talk about technology because, well, I'm a tech person and I like talking about tech. So maybe we'll talk about that a little bit at the end too. We'll see what our time looks like as we get there. I would imagine in my brain, this is probably about 45 minutes to an hour-ish, give or take. I think I'm comfortable with an ish at this point. We're just about there. So we'll see how it goes. Um, we'll see how long we last and how much information we have to share. So again, today talking about assistive technology, the AT Advocacy Center, the Richard West Assistive Technology Advocacy Center. We are at Disability Rights, New Jersey. That is me. I am the director of the center. There's all my contact information, my email, Twitter handle, all of our social media. Feel free to reach out and connect with us anywhere you are comfortable and in any space that you use to get information and connect with resources. You saw on the main slide, I also had a link up to our website, which is the number 4nj.org. And that's our website where everything lives. So if you're always looking, if you're looking for information about us, that's always the first place I would send people. We spend a lot of time keeping that website updated and with the most current information about our activities and what it is that we're doing. A little bit about us, kind of give you a snapshot of what our services are and how we can work with consumers across New Jersey and service providers to basically share information about assistive technology. So we are the implementing agency for the Federal Assistive Technology Act program. So every state and every territory in the United States has an Assistive Technology Act program. We are federally funded. Our lead agency is the Department of Labor, and then we are the implementing agency. So we provide all the service to the community. We've had this project for many years now. I was just trying to think of this last night, how many years it's been. I know it's been more than 20. I don't know the exact number, but I know it's been a long time that this program has been at Disability Rights New Jersey. I've been the director. This is my third year now, I think. Yeah, I think it's been my third year. So we're excited to continue to get the word out about what we do, how we can help people, about information related to assistive technology. And so when I think about what we do, I tried to put it together in this sense to give you just a general kind of snapshot of what we do. I mentioned that our goal, excuse me, our goal is to get information out to the community, to the people who need it, whoever those people might be, those people that need it. I obviously people with disabilities across New Jersey, state agencies, nonprofits, any other community partners that might be out there. Our goal is to get information out there. We want to ensure that people with disabilities know about assistive technology, know what makes sense for them as far as assistive technology, and then how to go about getting the technology they need. We all know there's tons of technology out there. I think the abundance of technology is not necessarily the issue. The issue is the right technology. And I'm sure every single one of us has a story about getting a new piece of technology we thought would be the best thing we ever had, and then it turned out to be not the best thing ever. And so our goal is to make sure people with disabilities don't, we try to minimize those moments of we got something, thought it would be the answer, and it wasn't. And so we do that through a couple services we provide. These are what I would call our core services of what we do. And then we have some other state level activities that we do. But we have these three core services. The first one is device demonstrations. With that, we provide an opportunity for people with disabilities and their circle of support. I'm going to use that kind of broad term because whoever is part of um, that person's support network, family members, people they work with from agencies around the state, whatever it might be, we work with them to show them technology. And we do that through our device demonstrations. We partner with a couple organizations throughout the state to do this. We partner with Advancing Opportunities, who does this statewide. And then we also partner with Adam Kress Consulting, which tends to stay more towards Bergen County in the northern half of the state. And then we also provide these services as well. And so what is a device demonstration? A device demonstration is basically speaking with the consumer, learning a little bit about their needs and their needs and abilities and what they're hoping technology can help them with. And then what we do is show them some technology, and highlight the features of technology. I say this a lot, and a lot of the assistive tech people that we work with have the same kind of philosophy, which is good. That's probably why we work with them. In that we don't get hung up on the technology itself. Technology is great in the right circumstance, and in the wrong circumstance, it's not so great. But what's key about technology and what we like to instill in people is this idea of the features of technology. Don't get hung up on the thing, the actual device, but instead get excited about the way that device can work for you. And it does that through the features it has. And so when we look at that, when we do these demonstrations, we talk to the individuals about where they're at, and then can we match that to features of technology that's out there? And so through these demonstrations, we're able to show people different kinds of technology tools that they might be able to use to support their need. It's not an evaluation, and sometimes people get confused by that and they think that we're providing assistive tech evaluations. We are not. We are not making recommendations for technology. We are not reviewing case notes and reports and those kinds of things. This is not an evaluation, but instead what it is an opportunity for someone to get a sense of what tools might be out there that could meet their needs in order for them to make a better decision about moving forward. Maybe that decision is purchasing a tool. Maybe that decision is trying to borrow a tool to see if that really works for them. Maybe it's just information about something they're looking for going forward. Maybe they're thinking about getting a job or moving out into the community and they're not quite sure how they might do that. Well, with this, we can give them some insight into how technology might be able to help them. Uh, Considering the pandemic and considering where we're at now as far as working with people face to face, these in the past were typically face to face opportunities. That has obviously changed. They are, I was going to say mostly virtual now, though they are virtual now. Where there has been very little, if any, face to face device demonstrations, which has made this activity a little bit more difficult for us to do because there is something about the demonstration. There is a powerful moment of actually getting your hands on something to try it. Have it in your environment so you can see how it works right in front of you. With us doing it virtual, it happens kind of like this, like we're doing right now. We would show things. We could use a document camera to show the desk and how a device might work. But some of that, obviously, hands-on interaction is gone. But at least it gives some information. And as we go forward and health concerns change, we may be able to start those up again soon, maybe, as far as face-to-face. But at this point, those are virtual, but those are designed to specifically help an individual with a disability recognize tools that are out there that might be beneficial for them. Sorry about that. That's what I get for lumping together multiple um, Zoom calls. So I apologize for that. Give a little sense of how we do this. These are our numbers from last year. I'd like to share the numbers to give a sense to people of how many of these we're doing in a year. And last year in 2019, we've just now finished 2020. That ended September 30th. So we'll start to compile those numbers for this past year, which I think will look very different. But in 2019, our numbers, we were able to deliver 1,300 device demonstrations across the state. And you get a sense of the breakdown of who that is and kind of who the stakeholder is that we're sharing this information with. Now, when we do a demonstration, there may be multiple people there, but you're getting kind of a sense of where those numbers lie between individuals with disabilities and their family members, and then kind of where we're doing demonstrations, whether it's related to education, employment, health and rehabilitation, or community support. So those kind of spots that we do things. But that gives you a sense of some of the services that we provide as far as demos. And the reach we have. We could always do more. We're always looking to do more. So that's why we're having this connection this morning, because we're hoping that the individuals you serve have never heard about us and perhaps could use our services. And then we can connect with another group of individuals that we can provide that support to as we go forward. I mentioned the demonstration. Many times, the result of a demonstration is an individual saying, boy, that seemed really good. I wish I could try that out. I don't want to buy it because I'm not totally sure it's going to work, but I think it might work. So we have kind of this in-between moment of seems good, still not sure. And so what we do with that is we have our second kind of core service that we talk about, which is our short-term loan program, where we have an inventory of devices that we can loan to people in the community for short periods of time. It's 3 weeks at a time. But what we can do is we can do that for free. Because of the way that we're funded in our center, we have a device loan center that is available for individuals across New Jersey at zero cost. We will ship devices to you. You can try it for 3 weeks, and then we will provide you the information to ship it back. So the person doesn't have to put any money out to explore this. And this idea of these short-term loans, to me, is so powerful. That idea of what I like to refer to as getting past the honeymoon stage with a new piece of technology. And we've all been there. You buy something, and that first day you bring it home, you say, this is the greatest thing ever. And then the second day, you're still pretty excited, and it's still the greatest thing ever. But what's it like a week from that day? So a week later, is it still the greatest thing ever? Or are you starting to say, I don't really know if I like that anymore. I don't know if that's doing what I thought it would. And then fast forward to the end of that 3 weeks, and there might be some moments where you go, oh, that thing, I haven't touched that since those first couple days. And it just wasn't what I expected. So the idea of the loan program is very much a try it before you buy it service. And so we, again, partner with Advancing Opportunities for this. We provide the funding for the lending center. They manage the lending center. So at this point, you can go to their website and basically search the website. Here it is. And you can go through and explore any of their technology that they might have. And what's really powerful about the website, and so their website is assistivetechnologycenter.org. And then you search for the Technology Lending Center. Again, it's free for anybody in New Jersey. It's broken down into categories. So if you're looking for a specific type of information or research, there's daily living. There is a breakdown of subcategories. Any manufacturers, I can hit apply. It will search their database of devices and that they have available. And You can click on it and get some more information. A lot of times there'll be a picture. Not always. I mean, I think we'll just kind of roll the dice on that one, and I wasn't sure whether there was or not. But yeah, so not always was there a picture, but there may be. A little descriptor of what it is. If you want to view the device on the website for the manufacturer, it will have a link to take you there. And so it gives you an opportunity to see what these things are and see if that might help you. And it's really a nice opportunity, especially for people who aren't quite sure even what they need. They know they need something. So in this one, it was a mouse. So it's a vertical mouse. For some people, they might just say, I'm having difficulty controlling the cursor on my computer. I don't know what to do. And so they just search that computer access part and scroll through it, see some pictures and say, oh, well, maybe that might work for me. These tend to work really well when they're paired with a demonstration because we could help the person kind of narrow down some of their thoughts, but it doesn't always have to be that way. Anybody can access the Lending Center at any time. All you have to do is just reach out to them and become a member. Becoming a member, which means basically just filling out the form. And as long as you are in New Jersey, this is a service that's available for you. Again, like I mentioned, every state has an AT-ACT program. If you're working with someone, and I know we have a lot of instances in our state where we border other states. Maybe you're working with somebody in Pennsylvania across the river, maybe in New York. Those states also have programs that have similar supports. So although the person you're talking to in that other state might not be able to use our service, they can certainly use a service. And so if you're looking for those contact info, we can share with you who the Pennsylvania site is, who the New York site is, so that people can reach out to them and use this same service that's available in their state. But as we go forward and look at demonstrations, demos, loans, oh boy, sorry. For the past year, that was our 2019 numbers, was 475 loans of technology. You know, as we think about that, that to me says there's 475 people who hopefully made a better choice for a piece of technology that worked for them. Was it still the right one? I don't know, maybe. And those are the things that we look at when we follow up with people and learn a little bit more about how it went. But at least with that, I know between the demos and the loans, we've tried to put people on the right path to get what they need and not waste money and time looking at things that are not right for them. You know, as a tech person, I don't know how many times people will say to me, so-and-so got this, so I should get it. And so-and-so says, this is an awesome piece of technology, so I need to have it. And you know, a lot of times we'll start with the question of, well, why? Why do you think that's going to work for you too? Just because it worked for them doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And so this is part of the service that we provide, is really about putting people on the right path to find what works for them. Doing that by asking them the right questions and getting a sense of what their needs are, and really helping them kind of narrow down where their needs are, what kind of support they need, and how they can get that support. Our third big core service is device reutilization, reuse and reutilization. It used to be called device recycling. Now it has been retermed as reutilization. But what we have here is a partnership that we have with Goodwill Home Medical. And so they are located down in Camden County, in Belmar with the WR, not Belmar like where I live by the beach, but instead the Camden County Belmar. They have a warehouse. Those are two pictures of the warehouse. And really what they do is take materials from the community. So people donate equipment to them that they are no longer using. And you think about that, how many people have things in their garage, in their shed, in their basement, in their attic that are no longer being used? And it just sits there until someone decides to clean up. And then it a lot of times, unfortunately, heads to a dump, right? So the idea with Goodwill is that people can give their used equipment to Goodwill. They will analyze it, evaluate it, refurbish it, repair it, sterilize it, and clean it, and then put it back out into the community through their equipment warehouse at a very reduced rate. So they are selling the equipment back to people, but they are selling it in a refurbished condition at a ridiculously low rate, quite honestly. I'm always amazed when I go to the warehouse to look around, and there may be, just to give you kind of a sense. Don't hold me to these prices. These were the things that I saw when I was there. Maybe a bath bench. So you think about a bench that someone might put in their tub to help support someone, with a grab bar and somewhere to sit. Bath benches for $10, for $15, canes for $5, walkers for $10. These are things that are typically hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, and difficult to get. Now you have an opportunity to get one of these, at a very reduced rate to meet a need. In the picture there is pictures of their wheelchair area. Now this is a bit more of a pricey ticketed item, but I want to give you the sense of it. They have some power wheelchairs there that if you were to buy this power wheelchair, it's probably a $18,000 to $20,000 wheelchair. And the last time I was there, they had one that was about in that range, and it was like $1,200. Now, of course, that's still kind of a lot of money, but it might be feasible for someone to get that through saving money, getting a loan, which we're going to talk about in a minute, or some other way to have that money to get that equipment. So it's really kind of it's a great service to the community, to find those things. And I'm showing this to you kind of in a twofold hope. One is that you'll use the service and point people towards it to get equipment, because there's a ton of it there. The other side is knowing that this service is out there. Please share with people who have things they no longer want, because then we can get them there, and then we can get them back in the community to people who need them. Whether it's stair glides, and we've seen that where people have stair glides and they just don't need them anymore. But there's nothing wrong with them, and they may be sitting in a garage. I can remember there was a couple of years back, I went to a person's house to collect a stair glide, mostly because they said they were going to throw it out, and they said there was nothing wrong with it. And that's my curse in life for having a pickup truck, is I'm like, well, I'll come get it and I'll go bring it there, and they can refurbish it and turn it around to the community. But thinking about those kinds of tools and getting them back out there, those kinds of supports are incredibly powerful. And we do a lot of device reutilization. So in 2019, we did almost 4,700 devices back into the community, which is amazing. I think that's a great indicator. When we look at our end of year numbers, we try to figure out what is the cost saving to the community, by these devices versus buying it new and then buying it reutilized. And sometimes those numbers are over $1 million, because just the savings to people as they go forward with some of those prices I shared with you. So it's really, it's a great place, and they have open warehouse hours. So if you want to go there and see their materials, you can go there. You head to their website, they'll give you a sense of when their open warehouse hours are. Here they are. Warehouse outlet. I'll let the page load before I start scrolling. There's another picture of their warehouse, just to tell you kind of the depth of what they have there, is amazing. It's just so interesting to me. And every time I go there, I end up buying something, and bringing it home with me. And I don't need things, but it's just so cheap. The last time I went, this was a few times back now, I purchased an IV pole, and it was, I don't know, it was like $10. And I modified it so I could put my iPad on it, and then it became a rolling stand for my iPad. So that was pretty cool. And then someone saw it in my office, and they're like, well, I could use that for so and so. And so I gave it to them, and that's that. So I need to get another one. But yeah, they have all these open office hours, where you can go and visit the warehouse. If you call them and say, I'm looking for this kind of device, they can tell you whether they have it or not. I don't know if they do pickups. I know sometimes people will ask that question. Do they pick up equipment? I don't know if they do, and so I don't want to put that on them. I know there was some discussion about finding a way to get the equipment to local Goodwills that were close to a person, and then they would coordinate a pickup between them. But I don't know if that's completely worked out. So what I would suggest is call Goodwill and ask them about that, if there's a way to get equipment to them from you. So those were our core services. Then we have kind of these other state level leadership activities that we work on also. We provide training and technical assistance. So training is a shorter term solution. This could be what I would consider things like webinars and conferences and sharing of information, kind of like what we're doing today. That's kind of training activities. Then we have technical assistance, which is kind of a longer term support for someone. And so that tends to be focused on a very specific point they're trying to make with technology, or a solution they're trying to create. And then we provide support over a long period of time. Last school year, I'll give an example for technical assistance. I worked with a local school district, local to me, here in Ocean County. And I worked with them across the school year to develop STEM programs to help students with disabilities experience things like STEM learning, because there was a big push in their school district for letting the students experience STEM and coding and building things and things like that. But they hadn't included the students with disabilities. So I worked with their technology coaches and some of their teachers to help them modify what they were doing so that it would be accessible for everyone. But that happened over most of the school year. So that became what we would call a technical assistance, and had a little longer duration. There is also a state level activity that revolves around financing. So I mentioned our short-term loan program. That is a loan of equipment for a short term. This is a loan program. So if someone wants to get money to purchase something, we've partnered with an organization called the National Disability Institute, and they have loans for assistive technology. So if you want to borrow money, and this is a low interest loan, that you can borrow money to purchase assistive technology. And so we don't manage that. We strictly partner with them, and they handle all of the details of that. So we really act as what amounts to a pass through for that. We say to somebody, yeah, if you want that information, work with them and they will help you. But that is the group we've partnered with for that activity. What else do we do? Public awareness, information referral. It's kind of, we go to, when we could, expos, table sittings, any kind of vendor things that would happen around the state. We would go and visit those. We would do the Abilities Expo, any of the other conferences that happen in the state. Obviously, since they've all become virtual, we don't do that anymore. We still do participate in some of these virtually, different kind of participation, but still just the same. And then also we can provide information on referral to other services. We do that through the supports we have at Disability Rights New Jersey. We have information and referral people who can help the community when they call in. We can help find the information they need, whether it's about assistive technology or about any other disability related questions. So the nice thing about being partnered and being part of Disability Rights New Jersey is that we can call on the services of our organization to help answer other questions for people and to help point people in the right direction for other things they might need. So that's been a really nice, powerful byproduct of where we are as the program when we're in Disability Rights New Jersey. Some of the ways to connect with us, and then I'll throw it open for some questions. We have our website, I mentioned before. It's at4nj.org. All of our information is there. All of our services are listed there. If you want to connect to either our subcontractors or what we do, you can have that information there. We put a lot of information up on our page about upcoming conferences we're part of, webinars. What we found in this kind of move to virtual that we've all done in the past 10 months, we've found that we're doing a lot of virtual training, which is great because it's building up kind of a knowledge base that people can access. And so we list that all under our conferences/webinars tab on our website. You'll find all that information there. We have all the social media, like I said before. We have a Facebook page where you can find some information about what we're doing. We also have a Twitter page, a Twitter handle if you want to connect that way. Just trying to find people where they are and get the information out. I mentioned this idea of us doing a lot of virtual training. And so what we found, and probably one of the biggest areas of growth for us lately, has been our YouTube channel. Because we're doing so many sessions and webinars and conferences, and they're all virtual, we just record them all. And then we put them all up on our YouTube channel. And so what we're finding is that's been a really powerful resource for people both in our state and outside of our state. Here's all the videos. There's so many videos up there. Whether it's the webinars, we host a series of webinars we call Learning at Lunch. And those are technology focused, and they go from noon to 12:30. And we do those about, there's really no definite way we do this, maybe like 3 to 7 a month, somewhere in there. We try to do one a week. Sometimes we do more than one, sometimes we do less. So, somewhere around that. Those all end up there. We do a weekly assistive technology town hall. And so there's a lot of people that we support that work in assistive technology in education. And so we do a weekly town hall where we all get together and just talk about things that are happening and how we might be able to support each other. So those all end up there. What I did want to point out, if you see our video page, is every session. We just had our Assistive Technology Summit. That happened in September, and I think that's probably the next slide, so I beat myself to it. Our Assistive Technology Summit is typically a live event. We do that every year where people from across the state come together and they present about what they're doing or some interesting topic related to technology for people with disabilities. Well, we couldn't do that live this year, obviously, so we made it a virtual event, opened it up to anyone. And so we opened it up to the entire country, and we ended up with having over 600 people register. We had 33 sessions for people not just from New Jersey, but people from everywhere around the country. We even had some international people check in. And so it's been a really exciting opportunity for us. It's been this interesting kind of, and I know it doesn't sound right, but I mean this in the best way. It's been the one little silver lining about this virtual move that we've had, is that people are more interested in this technology because we're now dealing with more technology every day. So people are open to the information we're sharing, and they're seeking it out at this point, which is kind of exciting because they're looking for ways to make things more accessible for people. And so we've been able to kind of capitalize on that a little and say, hey, look at all this great stuff. You may be looking for this thing about website accessibility, but what about living independently with voice assistance? What about having a student go to school and be able to access the whole curriculum? What about a person going to work and being able to complete their job tasks? What about all this other stuff? And so we're getting these nice connections with people about that. And so our summit, there's all the sessions from our summit. We recorded everything and we posted it up there. So every one of the sessions is up there. And I was just going to scroll through them. There they all are. So please share our YouTube channel with anyone and everyone. There's a link to it from our website also. And you can just go to YouTube and search ATAC, ATAC, and you'll come across our channel as well. And so that will continue to grow as we continue to do more of these sessions and more webinars and more meetings and town halls and anything else that we decide to do to be able to get the information out there to people. And there's our summit. I thought that was next. The conference recordings are up on our YouTube channel. That link there on the slide which is bit.ly/2020 NJATS. That link will take you to the conference website, which had the session descriptions, the speakers who spoke, the links to the schedule, which have the recordings in them, as well as any resources that the presenters shared as they did their session. So everything about the conference lives at that website. So please share that link with people so they can find that information out. I can talk about some tech, but you know what I'll do? I'll take 2 minutes, take a breath, get a drink of water, and say to you guys, are there any questions right now? Are there questions you have about what we do that maybe I can help you with? I'll throw one more thing out there for you. Well, if you're thinking about either typing it or turning on your microphone, either way, you can do it either way. Are there topics related to technology that you would like to see us tackle that would be beneficial to your stakeholders? Yeah, I'll make you guys work a little bit because we're always looking for ideas of what to do. And so we're always looking to make sure the information we share is relevant to the community. So I'll throw it back to you. Christina said, how long are the equipment loans for? Christina, the loans are 3 weeks for a loan. You can get it for a second 3 weeks as long as no one's waiting for it. So if there's no waiting list, you can renew that for another 3 weeks and have it for 6 all the time. Yeah, it's a good question. Thank you. So here's a comment. It would be great to teach seniors how to use FaceTime to interact with care managers. Yes, I think that is a great idea. I think this whole idea of using virtual meetings like this is an area that we could easily get into to kind of show people what do you have already and how do you do it. Make it easier for people to understand that. I love that. It's a great idea. So Dennis mentioned social isolation. Do you have anything in this area? And I guess, Dennis, I'll put it back to you and say, what kinds of things are you looking for? I think paired with the other comment about the way to connect virtually through video services would be one way. Showing people how to connect to other services that are out there. Just last week, this wasn't work related, this was actually home related. I helped a family member connect to a virtual book club that they just heard about. I'm not even sure where they heard it. But they said it would be great. And I love this when this happens, even in my personal life, when someone says, it would be great if I could connect to a virtual book club to read a book with a group and then get together with people to talk about it. And they were going to do it through Zoom. They were going to do the talk part through Zoom, but it was connecting to the group was the key. And so we found that that was something they could do. And the book club idea is great. We do that professionally. I don't know if you guys do ever. We do it as assistive technology people. We've hosted book clubs before and said, let's all read this book and then we'll get together every week to chat about it or every 2 weeks to chat about it. It's a great way to connect people together. And the virtual component of it allows us to connect now, even though we can't be together. So it kind of beats the isolation piece. So there's one idea that might help people. I think this virtual piece, I think like anything else, the platform you use to connect people is going to be the trick at this point. And how do you do that? And then Lori asked how long the sessions would be up. Naomi jumped in. That is, don't believe that that's me typing for a second. Naomi and I are logged in as the same person. So Naomi is doing a great job answering questions on my name, and it makes it look like I'm typing at the same time. So thank you. Dennis, we're looking at buying simple, secure tablets like the GrandPads. Yeah, and I like the idea of those GrandPads because they have taken the kind of user interface and simplified it a little. And I like that idea. So that helps, Dennis, because it gives people a simpler way to go into things. But what's interesting too is in asking people questions, sometimes you start to realize they have more tech expertise than they let on or they think they do. And so I had a individual I was talking to, and I was trying to explain to them what Zoom was. So we were on the phone and we were just talking, and I had said to this person, a lot of things are happening through Zoom now, through video conferencing. And the person had said to me, I don't know anything about that. I can't use any of that. I don't know what that means. And then in asking them more questions and talking to them, I'd say, well, what do you use for a phone? What are you talking to me on right now? And they said, oh, I have an iPhone. They had an iPhone 11, by the way, too. So they were certainly not techie. They were fairly techie. And I said, okay, you have an iPhone. Have you ever used FaceTime? And this person said, oh, FaceTime, I use that all the time with my grandkids. And I said, well, great. That's basically what Zoom is. It's like FaceTime. And this person said to me the greatest thing ever. They're like, well, I'll just use FaceTime then. Great. Okay, cool. So sometimes people get lost in the idea of what these things mean and they feel very overwhelming. But if we talk to them a little bit and connect it back to something they understand or they've used, it starts to clear that up a little. And nothing says you have to use Zoom. You can use anything. You can use FaceTime. You can use Google Meet. There's tons of things out there that give you the same experience of this kind of virtual connection. And so sometimes it's just a figuring out what they need. But yeah, getting back to your comment, Dennis, I think those grandpads are really nice. Uh, I think for some people, for some individuals though, they would be just as well served by a simple tablet that perhaps didn't have a lot of apps loaded into it. If you think about some of the tablets you get, whether it's an iPad or an Android tablet, when you get them, they don't come with a lot of stuff on them. And what I've done for some people is taken the tablet right out of the box and taken a lot of the apps that they're not going to use and just move them to somewhere else that they don't see them all the time. And basically given them a front screen, which has like 3 things on it. And maybe it is the video conferencing and their email and the internet. Maybe that's it. And then they work from there. And like anything else, they build up their skills. They kind of build up their knowledge base and say, oh, I wish I had this. Oh, well, you do. Let me put that on there. Wish I had a calendar to track my appointments. Great, that's on here. Let's put that on and start using it. So I think there's opportunities to build expertise and have somebody use more of the features of the things they have by releasing it slowly to them, if you kind of get where I'm going with that. But I think it's a great idea. Those grandpads are cool, by the way. Any other stuff? Oh, I like your guys' comments. This is fun. Don't be afraid to chime in through your microphone, too. I'm game for a microphone chat. If you want to turn on your mic and talk also, that's okay. I know we have some people on the phone, and I know it would be hard for them to see the chat and to get access to it. So if you're on the phone and you feel like you want to chime in, unmute and dive in. So the question in the chat was, will the slides be available after the Zoom? I will send a link to the slides. Sorry I didn't do that before. But yeah, I'll make the slides available so you guys have access to them. Good question. But now that I said that, I better write myself a note so I don't forget. Everybody's been there, right? Slides available. Okay, I'll do that when we're done. Make myself a note.
Thanks,
All right.
Mike. This is Glenda Guerrero, and I wanted just to find out, I know that New York City has promoted free tablets for seniors. Do you know if New Jersey has some type of program?
I do not know, Glenda, but that's a great question. I would be curious in New York City what department was heading that. You know what I mean? Like where that came from in New York City. I do not know anything like that that's happening. And maybe anybody else on the call, do you know? I'll throw it out to you guys. It's a really good idea. And we've had some of these conversations, not at a state level, but just kind of as we're talking about things. And we start to find out that, you think about people who use a lot of tech, they tend to have older things laying around their house. I mean, I don't know if you do, and again, I'm a tech person, so I tend to. I have like two iPads that I don't use anymore, and I've given them to other family members because it just I have a new iPad. I don't need my old one, um, and I always wonder: is there a way to kind of do this outreach into the community to say to people, hey, do you want to clean out your junk drawer? Do you have a tablet laying around? It's funny, I naturally looked around because I looked to where the tablet was sitting. Do you have an old phone that you don't want anymore? And then collect them. I've seen schools do that to a really good um, effect where I was supporting a school and a librarian sent a note home to all the families and said, I'm trying to build an audiobook library for the students, but I need devices. Um, if you have one at home that you're not using, would you mind sending it in and donating it to us? And we'll use that in the library. And she got almost 30 devices sent in. And now they were not all good. They didn't have all the pieces. And so there were some things to work out. But she told me that she had to, um, once she was done fixing them all, she got about 2 dozen that worked and she was able to use. So I think it's just about coordinating that sometimes. Oh, Glenda's putting something.
Hi, Mike. This
Yeah.
is David from Bergen County Division of Senior Services. And I just want to make a quick comment about the question that Glenda asked. So we, as one of the AAA agencies in New Jersey, were just awarded the CARES Act funding and a new service, Assistive Technology, where we can provide any type of device or assistive technology that would be covered under that to the seniors who do not have access to the computer or internet or just don't know how to use it. So that is available here in Bergen County. Plus, I can imagine that other counties also should be able to do that. So if you can just contact your local AAA agencies, I'm sure they will provide you more information on that.
Awesome.
So one of the reasons I'm here is just we're still in the process of deciding which technology, which device would be most suitable for our programming and mostly remote programs and services that we offer in the community.
Awesome. That's great, David. That sounds really cool. And if possible, I think my email will pop up at the end again. If you could shoot me an email, I'd love to learn about your program more. That would be
Sure,
great.
sure.
Cool.
I was going to, yes.
Oh,
I'll be in
wonderful.
touch. Thank you.
Awesome. Good. That would be wonderful. Yeah. And again, it's like anything else. Not one of us has all the answers, but every one of us has some answers. So it's always nice to connect with other people and learn what people are doing in the community and how they're kind of approaching this infusion of technology into their communities there. Julie asks in the chat, do you have an arrangement with GrandPads or other vendors for multi-purchase discounts? We do not. We are not a service that purchases equipment for people. I don't know if anyone else on the call has any of those arrangements, but at this point we do not. But that's a great question. Um, Perhaps if many of your organizations are going to be in that same boat of buying equipment, I would encourage you to talk to each other to see if you can create some kind of purchasing consortium and then multiply your efforts to get some kind of discounts, because that would be really powerful. And then Glenda put the link in. Thank you, Glenda. I'll look at that when we're done. If I click it now, it'll take us all there, and then I'll lose my focus. That happens quickly for me. But thank you. Anybody else? Any other thoughts? I like this. We've broken the seal a little bit. People are chatting. David turned his microphone on. We got a lot going on now. This is good. All right. I threw in just a couple slides about tech because when I think about what tech we need to make sure people know about, there's tons of technology out there. But I always feel like not everybody needs to know about everything that's out there. But the one thing that everybody needs to know about is the built-in accessibility features that live on the devices they have already, whether it's a smartphone or a tablet or a computer. Turning on some of these accessibility features will allow them to customize the experience and give them the supports they need. And so a lot of times people will reach out to us and say, I want to buy something. They're ready to buy an app, a software program, another device in order to do something. But as we talk with them and learn a little bit about what they're looking for, there are many times we're able to point them to a feature that lives right on their phone already and allows it to read text out loud to them, that allows them to talk to it to dictate things in. So what we often point out to people is look to your device first. No matter what you have, it has features in it. If you have an iPhone or a Mac computer, you have these settings along with a bunch of others, quite honestly. You have the ability to talk to it and let it do something. You have the ability for it to speak out loud to you. You have vision supports for magnification and zoom. You can adjust fonts. You can have closed captions pop up for media that shows on your device. You can do things like FaceTime. That's built in. People get very, very frantic because everybody now hears about Zoom and no one wants to pay for it. And you know, we have to remind people, don't worry about it. You have that. If you have this device, you have it. So don't worry too much about that. If you need supports for adjusting the touch of your device, that is there too. I'm going to move to this. If you have a Windows computer, these things live in there. So whether you have an Apple computer, a Windows computer, you have these things. You have something called Narrator that allows you to have text read aloud. You have different things like magnifier and contrast to change visually how your screen is displayed to you. Again, closed captions are available. Things to control the keyboard and mouse. So if there's a physical concern, you can adjust that. These are settings you can do right at the person's level at their device to fix their experience to make it more in line with their need. If you use a browser, so if you're on the web and if you're on a Windows computer and you're using Edge as your browser, that's the browser that comes with your Windows computer, that has read aloud right in it. There is a function that if you pull down the settings on the right-hand side, one of your choices is called read aloud. It will just read the text on the page. You don't have to do anything except select it. But again, we need people to know these things are there. If you're on an Android device, you have the same kinds of settings you had on an Apple device. Text to speech, so anything that's on the page's print can be read aloud. Speech input, closed caption, display settings, font size, magnification, all of these choices are there that just need to be turned on. You don't have to download them. You don't have to install anything else. They're already in your device waiting for you to turn them on. And so when I think about this idea of what is the most powerful tech we can talk to people about, it's about using what they have most effectively. That's the most powerful tech. It's not about getting more stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. I mentioned I love technology. If you told me I got to buy something new, I'm all for it. But most people are not like that. They don't want more tech around them. They want the right tech around them. So now how do we make sure that the things that they have in front of them are set up in a way that work best for them? And so your job, I'll give you a job. It's like homework. I'm going to pass through that one for a second. It's like homework now. If you've never gone into the accessibility settings of your phone, your job sometime today is to go into the settings and click on accessibility. You don't have to turn anything on, just scroll through it and see what's there. Maybe something will grab your attention and pique your interest, and you'll click it and you'll see what happens. But just know that those things are there, because those are your first step to getting people the access they need. I'll give you a little warning. If you do this homework that I've just given you, you don't have to, obviously, but if you want to, if you do this homework, my one piece of advice, when you get into your accessibility settings, only turn on one thing at a time. Don't turn them all on at one time. That just won't go well for you, because then your device will run totally different and you're not sure how to fix it. Turn one thing on and then play with it a little. I'm very much about playing with the tech. And when you're done playing, turn that off before you turn something else on. That's a better way to attack it. So explore those a little. See if there's something in there. Just knowing what's there will help you be a better resource to people who connect with you, because you'll kind of already know the things that might be a first thing to try. We can always find apps that do things. We can find software that do things. But isn't it great to be able to say to somebody, no, this is not going to cost you anything. You have it already. Just use it. So that becomes really powerful. So I'll leave you with that, my little soapbox moment of using your built-in accessibility. If you have questions before we go, I'm happy to answer them. Let me go back to the slide with my contact information so you guys have it. I thought it was at the end, but I was trying to not have too many slides, so I don't think I put it there. Let me find it. And please feel free, reach out. We're happy to chat with you about anything and everything. If you want more information about our services and what we do, we are thrilled to connect with you. There, Naomi was here. I'll open this slide. It'll give her a quick shout out too. So you can reach out to either of us, and we're happy to help you. There's our email addresses. There's my Twitter handle. There's all our social media. Again, our website is at4nj.org. And so with that, it was a pleasure chatting with all you today. Thanks for participating. Thanks for your questions. They were awesome. And hopefully we'll connect again soon. So thanks very much. You're welcome to stay and ask other questions if you want. If not, take care. Have a good rest of the day. Try to get outside. I'm ending all of my sessions now with this moment of get outside for a second. So nice out today.
Mike,
Yeah,
this is a question, and I'm going to ask this question.
sure. Uh-oh, Luis, you drifted away. I don't hear you anymore. I don't know, Luis. I see your microphone is on, but I don't hear you anymore. I don't know what happened to your microphone. Mm-mm. The littlest bit I can, but I'm not sure enough to hear though. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe try muting yourself one time and then turn it back on. See if that helps.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Look at that. Technology magically fixes itself sometimes. Yes, I can.
So, if a county wanted to purchase a simple a tablet, and as you said, you can kind of delete some of the screens, some of the icons that they might not need.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned technical assistance. So if a county worker we were going to buy the machines, is it possible that your organization can help the county that would maybe need assistance in learning what you just showed us, like how to use accessibility tools, how to delete some of the screens, or to put different screens on a pad? Your organization may have a little more expertise with it. And I'm just wondering, is that something that is a possibility that the counties could reach out to you for a little assistance there?
Yeah, I think it's a great way for us to connect, Louise. I like that idea a lot. Yes, we could certainly do that. And either Naomi or myself could connect with people and do these quick little like, hey, here's how you move all the apps into a folder and get them out of the way. Those kind of things. And help give people some skills as to how to set things up for people. So yes, the short answer is yes. I think that's a great way we could connect and do things.
Okay.
Awesome. Good idea. I love it.
Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome. Please reach out and we'll figure that out. We'll go forward.